right, welcome out to our continuing list of lists. And we're looking at right now, we're looking at tests, we're looking at college tests, how to prepare for those tests, how to know what's on the test, how to do well on the test, how to get an A on the test. Um, the best way to achieve to do anything is to know enough to not hang yourself, but to know enough that you're not only going to get by, but have a 70, 80% chance or higher of doing well, if not very well, on a test, on a paper, and the papers are coming next. We'll get to those shortly. But right now, we want to look at what's going to be on the test. It's not as mystical and as far removed as some students think. We're not talking 100% of surety, but we can get you within 70 to 80% of surety as to what's on the test by being aware of the following tips. Now, there's just a few here, so I won't be taking up too much of your time, but a few is better than nothing. Amazingly, professors test what they teach. I know some of this may seem obvious, but some students think that it's the professor's job to be arcane and opaque. If you don't know those words, look them up and you'll get the joke. Anyways, the syllabus, the reading, the handouts, the lectures should give you a very solid idea of what's to be on the test. You're always sifting for clues. And if you want some more detail, if you can get some more detail, go to the professor. Professors have contact information. They have emails, they have phone numbers. They might not get right back to you. I know when I was teaching a lot of classes, I'm only teaching a few right now. When I was teaching a lot of classes, I was very, very busy. So I was not getting right back to students within 24 hours. It's usually, for most professors, a day or two. If it's more than 3 days, then something's going on. And maybe they're just so busy or out of town or caught up with something that you're going to have to contact them again. Anyways, let's continue. Number 2, this is important. Did I say this is important? If you have a helpful professor, he or she will tell you outright that what they're about to discuss is important. And if they're like me, Professor Brown, I will say outright, often 3 times in a row, so there's no doubt. I've done that in my class, where I'll say, this is important, this is important, this is important. And usually it's important not because the professor just happens to like the issue or topic, but that it's essential knowledge for the course, maybe even for the curriculum. That would be connecting all the courses together or connected to life, who knows? So in most cases, most professors, most of the time, know what they're doing. They're well informed. They've thought this stuff through, especially the ones that have many years of experience. I have 25 years of experience. So I've thought this through a lot over and over and over and time again. So those, especially those professors with a lot of experience, will really let you know what's going on. Number 3, listen to what the professor says and how it's said. Listen for clues, as when the professor uses key words and phrases like pervasive, substantial, significant, fundamental, foundational. This is something else that you do when you're reading. That's another video that I've got to put together. When you're reading, you're usually reading for key words and phrases, not only for main points and content, but also to see where the main points are. Sometimes the teacher or the text itself will say, this is important, right? Sometimes it's directly implied, sometimes indirectly implied, but it's up to the student to really be aware, to figure out for themselves on their own, or if they need help, through the professor's help as well, to get down to the bare bones. What's going on? What's on the test? What do I need to study? Where is it? Where is it at? How much of what we're looking at, reading, studying, listening to in the lectures, doing in assignments, and so forth, how much of that is going to be on the test, right? Anyways, and to finish off number 3, You have to be part detective, part student to decipher and discern where the professor is going, stay awake and attentive, and follow the clues. So this is staying awake and attentive at all times, not just in the classroom, but when you're studying, when you're looking at the syllabus, when you're maybe walking to class or before class or during class, and even after class contemplation and reflection. Something else good to do. I often did that when I finished up a class. If I had time, I would sit there and go over my notes and ponder things. And sometimes the professor was hanging out in the classroom, and I would ask he or she some questions to further elucidate or to make things more clear as to what was going to be on the test or a paper or whatever. Number 4, fortunately for students, professors are busy. What does that have to do with test taking? Since they're busy, they rarely change assignments or tests. So if you know a student who's taken the professor before, they may have a copy of his or her old test lying around. Be careful, this isn't an opportunity to cheat, but to use the test as a study guide. Also know that professors may change the order of the questions, add and delete as well. That's usually what professors do. They don't have tests and quizzes or even paper assignments verbatim. Sometimes they do, but they'll break them up enough. Maybe they'll move the questions around on the test, or they'll reword a few of the questions, add some additional answers, or change some of the answers around. But basically, the guts of what they're working with really doesn't change. Okay, just to, as I said before, most professors are very busy. They don't have time to reinvent the wheel. Number 5, the assignments may have clues. Your first place for clues is the syllabus. It will guide you as to the material topics covered each test. From there, you can look at the reading assignments, questions selected by the professor, any handouts, and even essay topics. I've mentioned this before, that the syllabus, texts, and assignments are rife with clues as to what's covered on the test. So it's really about being active, keeping your head in the game. You should be continuously questioning on a regular basis. This is what professors do when they're writing or researching or even teaching. They're usually not just going at something verbatim. They've done a little bit of reflecting and thinking and contemplating and background research and crisscrossing and cross-referencing and blah, 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 and so forth and so on, and checking and rechecking and writing and rewriting. So this is something professors do. It's a very successful, not just professors, but almost any professional will do that. So this is a good technique, skill or ability to learn for yourself. And it can be applied in the workplace. It can be applied in your personal life and elsewhere. Number 6, just stay awake and aware. Professors will do odd things, like give you some questions and even answers in class, which may be just from the test. I've done that, not only to help students out a bit, but to see if anyone's paying attention. The awake mouse often gets the cheese, coining my own phrases. And it bears repeating that professors generally use the same tests and paper prompts time and again. However, not verbatim, as I said before. For example, my finals, I have a dozen or so questions that I pull from every semester for the final. And then from those 4, you pull 1 to answer, or 2, depending on how I've set it up. So things may be similar. Remember, professors are very busy and don't have time to reinvent the wheel. But not the same for papers, quizzes, and tests. Good luck out there. So there's a few insights into test taking, what may be on the test. And after a while, after a while, I shouldn't even, it might be dawning on some of you, don't even need this to put together these lists. They become self-evident after a while. You start to form your own questions, use your own intuition and intuitive thinking and critical thinking. All right, so that's it for now. Take care, and we'll see you for the next list. Bye-bye.